Well, there's no doubt about it, being more organised in your angling will catch you more fish. Now, the boys in the office, they're often taking the mick out of me because I'm so OCD with things like my terminal tackle and my luggage. But if I'm completely honest, I really think it benefits my angling. Now for me, organisation is a lot more about having a couple of rigs ready to go after you've caught a fish. There's so much more to it. So throughout this piece, what I'm going to do is give you a bit of an insight into how I approach my angling and how I spend more time worrying about how I'm going to get the next bite as opposed to worrying about whether I've left my net at home or where my scissors are. Now, at the moment, I'm currently at the office. I'm fortunate enough to be able to keep all my gear nice and safe in one of our old warehouses. Yeah, that's where I keep everything organised, and what I've done is I've pulled it all out the back today by the lakes, got it all out on the balcony at the back, and I'm going to have my big sort out ready for the year ahead. And hopefully throughout this video I'll share a few tips and tricks that will help you get organised too. That's the thing about being organised, it's not just about getting line on your reel, which is obviously one of the most important tasks for the year ahead, but there's a lot more to it than that. And what I'm doing today is getting all my luggage sorted, all my key items. Well, that involves quite a lot of things really, but I know once this task is done, then I don't have to worry about it for the future sessions. I'll get everything that I will need. I'll go through all the pouches in my bag, make sure that I've got everything in there that I need for the year ahead. If there's anything that I don't need, that comes out, makes it a lot tidier. So I'm getting everything sorted along the lines of my carry-all, going through all the pockets on that, my tackle bag. I mean, for me, I like having everything in one bag. So that's why I use the tackle pouch, because no matter what fishing I'm faced with, I can swap between. So zig, floater, everything, I just have it in one bag, all nice and organised. And then things like my cook bag, my brew kit bag, my spares bag. I'm doing that now, I'm getting everything ready so that it's something I don't have to worry about for the rest of the year. And then that keeps me more organised and just makes me fish more effectively. Now lists are something that I actually can't do without when I go fishing. Now it may seem a little bit over the top, making sure that I've got a long old list and I'm checking it off before the beginning of each session, but there's nothing worse than getting to the lake just to realise that you've left your food bag on the kitchen side or your bait in the freezer, and yeah, it's just going to muck about with your session. So yeah, a list plays a really important part in my fishing. Now the list itself, it's not too much of an effort. All I do really is have a big master list, and on that list really is each luggage item. So I'll have something like my spares bag, my carry-all, my tackle pouch, and then below that I'll have what item is in each piece of luggage. And then before each session I'll jump in the van, whack out my phone, look at that list and just mark things off, and then I know on the way to the lake I'm full of confidence that I've got everything I need for every possible situation.
I didn't read those books.
Playlist of dreams. I got 2 tickets to paradise. Oh girl, shock me like an electric field. Welcome to a very cold morning here at Chigborough Fisheries. The temperature is well below 0 at the minute. Fortunately enough though, not all the lake is frozen, so we're not going to be ice skating today. We will be carp fishing, which is great. It's worth noting we are currently still in lockdown, which means it's day only fishing, so it's even more important to be organised. Now, the last thing you want to be doing, especially at this time of year, is faffing about trying to tie up rigs and get stuff sorted when you want to be spending most of those daylight hours looking at the water, searching for opportunities. Now, when it comes to being organised about the venue, there's a number of different things you can do. Now, in this instance, it's a venue I've fished quite a lot, so most of my preparation has really come through the fact that I've been here a lot. So I have a bit of an idea where the carp are going to be at this time of year, so there's places I'm going to start looking first, and it gives me a little bit of a head start. But for now, it is my first session of the year. It's my first chance to catch my first carp of 2021. So what I'm going to do now is unload the van, head off, and get this session started. Now, one thing I do really like having is a nice neat barrow. I'll get rid of the bed chair this time of year. You don't need it. Well, especially with lockdown, can't go at night. So get rid of the bed chair, lay the unhooking mat flat on the bottom, and then all that means is I can just put each luggage item on top. There's no moving anything. I don't have to get rid of the bed chair to find something underneath. Everything I need is straight to hand. And it's even more important at this time of year because I'm going to be moving a lot. They're likely to be in one place. So the fact that I can just fish off the barra completely with everything to hand makes everything so much easier. There you go, look, I don't have to worry about anything. Each item there is just one grab away. And these, funnily enough, didn't actually start using these till the middle part of last year, which just meant more clutter on the barra. Now they have all my waterproofs in, barra cover, coat, waterproof trousers. So yeah, if it starts chucking it down, unzip that and make sure everything stays dry, and they just stay in there all the time. I don't have to worry about it, and they hold the alarms too, which is a little bit of a bonus. Also, something else, this bag. This is my spares bag. There's all the spare kitting that I should need, my clothes, spare gas, spare bait, so if I run out of any bait whilst I'm fishing, it's really nice to know this bag is always in my van. It just lives here, and all I do is top it up throughout the year as it starts to get low. But yeah, that's yeah, really nice to know it's always in the van. But as for now, this is all I need for the day session ahead. Keep me going. No, it's not. I forgot the baiting pole. Now, that's all I need for the day session ahead. Let's see if I can catch one. And just having that little bit more effort on the organisation front just means that over the course of a year, I'm not going to have any catastrophes or any moments where I'm turning around just to go back home, just to pick up something I've left. And really, I could be spending that extra time at the lake, and you never know, that time is all you may need to get that very special fish of the year. I'm just checking the snags, just because generally I know this is where they hold up. It's shallow, but even though there's a thin layer of cat ice, it just offers protection, so snags any time of the year are gonna hold carp, but just can't quite see enough at the moment. It is cold, I know that much. In terms of being organised when it comes to my terminal tackle, I generally like to keep everything in one bag, and the pouch I like using is the tackle pouch. Now, it's not too big, so it's not going to take up a load of room in my carry-all or on the barra, but at the same time it's got everything I need for pretty much every situation I'm going to be faced with. In terms of the actual bits that are in my tackle pouch, now I do like to carry a few spares. Some people might say that I take too much with me, but it's no extra weight or space to carry in a couple of pairs of scissors and a couple of bait and needles. And it's just more confidence to know that if I was to lose a pair, drop a pair in the lake, it's not going to hinder me going forward. And again, all comes back to being prepared and spending more time on the actual fishing. The more time you do that, well, obviously the more chance you have of catching fish. And that's sort of exactly what being prepared and organised in that fashion is all about. Well, I'm all set up in the swim now. It didn't take me too long at all to get the rods set out over to the snags on the opposite bank from me here. Now, I'm on Haybridge Mere. It's the lake that I fish the most on this complex, so I've got the most experience here, and generally, when I'm here, they're always held up in the snags opposite me. It's really, really cold today. I've had to break some of the ice out with a baiting pole, but I wasn't able to see any in the snags. How the sky is at the moment, it doesn't make it the easiest to actually be able to visually see them. So I'm just going on previous experience and the hope that they are over in them snags. But what I've done is get the baiting pole out because I can get right tight underneath them, and especially this time of year when it's really cold, the carp love to hide up in the snags because it offers a form of protection. They don't want to move much. They want to sit up somewhere where they feel safe, and it's a good bet that there's some fish under there. So if they do want to come up for a little bit of a feed, the rigs are in position. So yeah, that's me sorted for now. By no means am I staying put in this swim. I'm going to keep my eyes on the water as the day goes on. But tactics wise, I'm not putting hardly any bait in. I don't expect these fish to be eating much at all. As always, I've opted for my ever faithful Ronnie Claw rig. You probably know by now, this is pretty much all I use, well, pop-up fishing anyway. And I've just, yeah, put that in the baiting pole. Little sprinkling of citrus flake, 5 or 6 12mm white citrus boilies, and yeah, they've just gone out really tight to the snags on the far bank. So it's just a case of sitting here now, keeping an eye on the water, and If not, we can always move and check another spot later on. In terms of all sort of the small bits of my terminal tackle, so my swivels and beads, I like putting them into our slim and shallow boxes, more often than not a slim box 8. That gives you 8 compartments, so I'm always taking every type of swivel that I'm going to need for each situation. Some people take one type of swivel, whereas I might be fishing leg clips and realise it's really silty and I need to swap over to a helicopter swivel. So again, I've got that option if needed. It's in that box, so yeah, the option is available if I need it. It's the middle of January now, it's freezing cold, and the last thing you'd expect people to have in their tackle bag is their floater fishing stuff. But for me, it stays in there. I have my floater fishing stuff, my zig fishing stuff, solid bag, everything is in my tackle bag at some point, or at least in the van, because more often than not, you're not going to need it. But on one situation, when the opportunity is there and you don't have it, you're going to be kicking yourself. Now, I hear a lot of people say it's April, the floater gear goes back in the van, but for me, it's always in there. Well, it's been a few hours in this swim now and not much has happened, and by not much I mean nothing. The rods have stayed motionless. Could be a few carp over there, but as it is winter, they're often held up in one area, so I'm going to get on the move. I did bait a few areas earlier on, so I'm going to go for a walk, check them out, see if the bait's still there, and either way I'm going to have a move. But yeah, if the bait's gone, I know exactly where to set up now. So I'm going to go have a recce and then get the rods out for the last few hours of the day, because the light, well, it's going to be fading soon, so I'm going to make the most of the rest of the day. So I've just got a new swim now, just alongside, and similar to sort of the last swim, but just another snaggy sort of set of bushes that runs along the far margin. But from this side, with a baiting pot, I can get quite close to it. So that's where I'm going to spend the last few hours of the day. My bait had gone in one spot, but there was a lot of coots about, so I'm pretty sure it was them that had just picked it up. There was only a handful of bait. So what I'm going to do now anyway is just get this back out there, hook point sharp, actually coming really clear from the other spot. There was nothing on it at all, so I know that was fishing. And yeah, sort of same tactics as before, but just hope they're in these snags instead of the last one. So let's do that now, and fingers crossed we can nick one. Let's see. Well, he's been through the wars a little bit, I think, this one, but 5 minutes in the right place. Well, you've heard it all before, you know what I'm going to say there. Literally, I must have dropped that rig with a bait and pole. 5 minutes, and they were obviously residing in these snags as opposed to the first one. Yeah, it's my first cut of the year. He's a little bit of a character. I'm going to get him back now. I don't think he needs to be out for any longer. But yeah, what a result, 8th of January. Being organised also involves things other than your physical items, and by that I mean planning your year. What venues are you going to target for this year, maybe the year after that? You need to have a bit of a game plan in place to make sure that you're not stuck in sort of this limbo. So for me at the moment, I'm on a syndicate. There's no specific fish in there that if I caught I was going to move anywhere else, but at the same time it doesn't offer particularly good surface fishing. It's a big open pit, so in the springtime I might want to dot about to a few other venues to practice my surface fishing and to enjoy my surface fishing as well. And you've got to remember, this day and age there's a lot of clubs with quite long waiting lists, so if I am going to move on after this year on my syndicate, I need to make sure that my name's on the waiting list to join somewhere else, because as I mentioned, you get stuck in this horrible limbo and you don't know where you're going, you're dotting about here and everywhere. That might suit you, but for me, I like having that structure available and I'm knowing exactly how my fishing's going to plan out. Well, I think that's about time. We're rapidly starting to lose the light and we've got to be off in probably the next 10 or 20 minutes with it being days only. So has it been a successful day? I caught possibly the worst looking carp I've ever caught, but would I take that in January? Absolutely, of course I would. There was ice on the lakes this morning, so to come here and get a bite, I'm made up. It's my first one of the year. They can only get better than that one, I can guarantee you that. And I think the whole process of being organised has certainly helped me today. The first swim wasn't the one, but the fact that I was able to up sticks and move quickly, it was just a case of coming around with a barra, grabbing the rods and getting them out with a baiting pole. And the fact that I was able to do that so quickly, I got the bite within 5 minutes. If I'd maybe dilly-dallied and didn't get round here quick enough, would I have got that bite? Maybe, but it's just being able to get that accumulation of those marginal percentages throughout your fishing. The more times you do it over the course of a year, you will catch more fish because of it. But for now, I'm going to get this rod in, head back to the car park, and I'll be drying out the gear for a change.